Blessed love, everyone. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Sunday? We got a wonderful class I want to talk to you guys about. I got some new people all in the group. I'm very excited about all the new energy that is here. I'm very appreciative of all the old energy also. We kind of recycle this energy and help each other grow and learn a lot more while we're in this group. Um, Very excited about this upcoming month. I got a good challenge for everybody on a metaphysical level. You guys know that I own a health and metaphysics store, so we got to correlate these things along with each other. So we'll know what's beyond the physical because we got three different bodies out here. We got a spiritual body, physical body, and an emotional body. And I think this is the best time to kind of talk about these situations because we're talking about heart health this month, all about heart health. Um, you may know some loved ones that have had heart disease because it is one of the most common causes of death in the United States. I believe over 8.5 million people are adults that are dealing with heart failure or heart disease situations out here in America. But about it's about 425 thousand people that die each year from heart disease and or some type of heart related issue, congestive heart failure. So we got to know how we're going to be able to protect our heart, how we're going to heal from these situations, and how did it actually start and how did it get there. So we all know the basic functions. I'm not going to bore you guys with a bunch of anatomy and biochemistry, but the basic functions, guys. So we have a reference to what our heart actually is. It's a muscle. It's a pump. It is it has a right ventricle or right atrium, like aorta. It's separated by the right and the left by a septum in the middle, and the left part is basically sending is getting oxygen from the lungs and sending it back to the body. So basically, it's acting as a pump, guys. So most of us already know the basic functions of the heart. It beats about 100,000 times per day. We are really relying on this magnetic field, this electrical conduction field that we have to have when it comes to our heart. So very, very necessary that we learn about it. So I don't want to go too fast, but I also want to let you guys know that we only have about 25 to 30 minutes in these type of classes. So I want to go ahead and dive deep into it because we got a lot to talk about. Um, so what can cause this heart to actually fail? A lot of people have malfunctions such as a slow electrical conduction, which is bradycardia, or they will have a disordered electrical conduction like arrhythmia, or they will have something fast called tachycardia. These are all issues that are dealing with coronary artery type of diseases. They're dealing with also the valves of the heart. And I've noticed people that have certain things like stenosis, where it's very stiff or very hard. I noticed certain people that have very leaky valves, where they have a regurgitation of the blood going back into the heart where it shouldn't be. So there's many different ways that the heart can malfunction. And one of the number one ways is glucose. A lot of people that have insulin resistance and having diabetes, which is another common cause of death out there that leads to heart disease. And that's because when the sugars are very, very high, that glucose starts to cause some scarring. The heart starts to get very hard or fibrous. It's called fibrosis in that heart. It can become very stiff, basically. And that's another way that the heart becomes malfunction because these medical conditions, it creates a high blood pressure situation, and the glucose is very high. So we do have to know that that's all diet related. We can change those situations very easily. The heart is subject to a lot of different things that we do commonly out here. And I would say one of the ways a lot of people get damaged hearts is because of drugs. Certain drugs that are common would be smoking. Most people know that smoking is going to cause peripheral artery disease. The tobacco, whatever you're smoking, it doesn't belong in there. It's causing a deoxygenation in the blood. It also causes a reverse cholesterol transport to be malfunctioning when it comes to removing the cholesterol out of the body. So smoking should be eliminated if you guys are dealing with some type of heart condition. We know that alcohol is a direct toxin to the heart. It can cause it to have angina, some type of chest pain, shortness of breath. We know that people have strokes and heart attacks just from having drinking too much alcohol. My uncle is a prime example of that. You know, he passed away of heart disease as well from too much alcohol. Also, we can say that cocaine, that's another drug that's very, very common out there that speeds up the heart, and a lot of people can develop a heart attack from having that. But those are just some of the common things like drugs. Of course, you know that metabolic syndrome, but people that have high cholesterol, people that have atherosclerosis, those type of things that are causing the heart to be malfunctional. But I do kind of want to relate a little bit to this about stress. Now, we know that stress can kill people. We know that one of the most stressful environments or stressful events that happens to a person, especially when it comes to their heart, is a heartbreak. Okay, so a heartbreak, just to slow things down a little bit, because a heartbreak can cause you to have a heart attack. If it's an emotional injury, traumatic enough, then it can really do some damage and create a lot of different problems. It can show up in the heart. And this can be somebody that just passed away, creating grief. This could be like a mother or spouse or father, cousin, anybody that's really close to your heart that you cannot really feel that void. And you put it away, you put it around your heart wall. You put a wall up so basically that won't hurt you anymore, because I want to relate this to metaphysically to the pericardium. If you guys know about the pericardium, it is our heart wall. It is a fluid that is around the heart, similar to how like the amniotic sac of the womb, but it's inside of the pericardium, the myocardium, and that fluid can build up. It's supposed to expand as the heart expands, but this wall that I'm relating it to metaphysically is that we like to put a wall up when things hurt us, and we'll keep that damage inside, whether it's anger or grief, and then that will create a way so that we can't receive love or be able to give love. And we know that, I don't want to talk about chakras in this pretty much, but it is pretty much a chakra. It is a system, an ancient system that allows all three body systems to be connected. Whether it's the spiritual, the emotional, or the physical, you still have to start off with that center heart space. So just putting that up in your mind, that a stressful event similar to losing a loved one can create a damaged heart. You will be able to find out these levels. I'm going to give you a test to check out just to see if your heart was damaged. You can look up troponin. Troponin levels is a protein that is being released from your heart when it becomes damaged. And this is one of the risk factors that comes with if a person is about to have a heart attack or a stroke. So for a woman, that level needs to be close to 10, maybe 9, 10, 11. That's when you know that your heart is damaged. If you see that on your full panel, you can get a full panel and get the troponin levels tested. I'm gonna write it in the chat so you guys will know what that is. Next time you go to the doctor, check out troponin levels. But if you're a man, it needs to be around 14, 15. And because we have testosterone, and of course, that's another thing about cholesterol. It's a lot of things connected with the heart. But those things like troponin levels lets us know whether we're going to have a heart attack or have a stroke. So keep that in mind when you're getting the blood test. But as these things develop, trying to remove some of the anger and the grief or the guilt that you put inside your heart, don't let those things build up. I got a little challenge for us later on, but those things can cause pericardium cysts. Those things can cause a stroke or cerebral palsy or something of that manner. So we have to be mindful about the metaphysical wall, the pericardium wall, our heart wall, so that we don't develop any of those type of things. But let's get into mostly about, as I talked about, cholesterol. So our cholesterol is different. It's very different. Finding out in studies that, it's based on ethnicity. And I'm sorry to say that for anybody that may be offended by non-melanated or melanated, but there is a difference. I like to believe that, one blood, one world, one love. We take off this shell of our skin and, we're just blood and we're one person, all of us the same, but we have different biochemistry. So keep in mind that if I was an Eskimo, if I was living in the northern parts of America, that my cholesterol levels are going to be different, being melanated. All right. Cholesterol is the precursor. Well, vitamin D is the precursor of cholesterol. So if those states in the northern parts of the country doesn't get a lot of sunlight, then I'm going to not be able to convert that cholesterol into vitamin D properly. So for a melanated person, his total cholesterol needs to be around about 1.5. For a non-melanated person, their total cholesterol needs to be around about 2.5. So they can handle more of the saturated fats. And I found this out just recently, that more of a non-melanated person would be able to have things like pork, beef, a lot of salmon, even polar bears. They can have all of those different saturated fats and still be able to be okay with their heart, especially if they're non-melanated. But if you are melanated, we need to be taking vitamin D, especially if you are in the northern states. Even if you are in the south, like I am, you still need to take some vitamin D. This sunscreen that we have, this melanation, is a way for it gets less penetration, I would say. If you are non-melanated, of course, you know that it goes straight through. It's easy to convert, and they won't have too many of a low vitamin D level. But vitamin D helps us with our blood pressure, guys. Vitamin D helps with blood pressure. Like even along with potassium, if you take those two together, it'll stop that stiffness in your heart. It will help it become a lot more elastic. All right, so you definitely got to have some vitamin D and potassium when it comes to that. You ever notice anybody that had Charlie horses? Y'all know that word, Charlie horse? All right. So Charlie horse is similar to like a potassium deficiency. It's also what they call hypokalemia, or what they call a magnesium deficiency as well. All right. So that tightness, that cramp up, it can happen in your heart like an angina. That is also what you call a potassium deficiency. So you can easily add potassium. All right. You can easily add magnesium, but magnesium has some wonderful, wonderful properties, guys. A lot of us, I would say 75% of the Americans out there are magnesium deficient. I'm quite sure you probably ran across this already, knowing that you're magnesium deficient. But if they ever try to give you or prescribe you a blood pressure medication called amlodipine, amlodipine is a calcium channel blocker. But a lot of people don't know that magnesium is a natural calcium channel blocker. I got some magnesium. Magnesium glycinate would probably be the best form of that to use. But you can block it because of the way calcium is associated with smooth muscle contraction. You're going to need something that can buffer that. So you don't want those fatty streaks to develop. You don't want, and you guys got to know that when they give you a statin drug, it's basically going to inhibit certain enzymes, like enzyme pathway that makes CoQ10. The enzyme CoQ10 is very important for our mitochondrial function. It's very important for all muscles, energy. So you'll notice that if they give you a statin, that you start to lose muscles, right? You'll start to lose your ability to make CoQ10. And with that being said, you can lead to a congestive heart failure just from not having enough CoQ10, because a statin drug lowers the amount of cholesterol that your body's making. So we're talking about Lipitor, we're talking about atorvastatin, all those type of cholesterol lowering drugs. All right, so we need this pathway to stay functionable so that we can still have good energy for our heart and our muscles and our mitochondria. The cholesterol is also very much needed, guys. We can get, our body already makes cholesterol by itself. That's why we really don't need to have eggs, even though I got some people using the BBE diet, and they're having some type of eggs or beef or things like that. But we have ways to get the extra cholesterol out. This cholesterol is important material. It's a raw material for making testosterone and estrogen. So you're definitely going to need it. But we have two different forms, guys. So we need to know there's HDL, which is a high density lipoprotein, or a LDL, low density lipoprotein. But there are little small categories in each form that we have. So there's a small lipoprotein A, or what they would call lipoprotein A. That's the one that's very damaging to our heart. That's the one that's very damaging to our vessels. So a lot of blood tests don't even test for this. All right. Yeah, a lot of blood tests don't even test for it. And we can get all into that, guys. The BBE diet is basically bacon, butter, beef, and eggs. It's a carnivore-based diet, and a lot of non-melanated people are able to handle it a lot better. Okay, so if you guys are answering that question, I just wanted to get that out there for you. But when we are dealing with LDL, this is the one that likes to stick to the vessels. This is the one that creates the atherosclerotic plaque that develops. All right. And basically all that is white blood cells. All right. And the macrophages, they come together in the blood and basically make a foam cell. And that foam cell eventually turns into the fatty streaks inside of the blood or inside of the walls and on the endothelium. And that's the beginning of the osteosclerosis. And that's what we call, the plaque buildup. That's what causes the strokes. That's what causes the heart attacks. All right. So it's very dangerous when LDL starts to become oxidized. All right. So if it doesn't oxidize, then you have no problem. All right. So this is the same cholesterol, guys, that is needed for testosterone for your heart. All the excess cholesterol is supposed to be secreted through your bowel. Now, some of you guys that have high blood pressure are already taking a supplement called TUDCA. TUDCA is a taurine uridine. It's an acid. It's like a bile salt. A lot of people do very, very well on Tuka. It's basically, it helps you thin out your cholesterol, your bile fluid, but it's very good for your heart because taurine regulates calcium, magnesium, and sodium, right? Um, and I sell it by itself, taurine by itself for the heart. But also, you should use the Tuka form. I always seem to run out of this brand because it helps with all different things when it comes to heart-related issues, um, even when it comes to arrhythmias, okay, cholesterol, homocysteine levels. If you want to bring homocysteine down, you can use Tuka. Okay, it gets rid of cholesterol through bile, through your gallbladder. So that's another way that you can get rid of it. All right. So Tuka can basically substitute that statin drug. All right. We want to get rid of some of the inflammation. This is a good way to do it. There's also plant sterols that you can take, like beta cytosterol. That's something that I don't have at the moment, but I used to have, and it's still on the website. I got some things coming in the mail, but it helps really protect your liver and your kidneys. Any plant sterol that you take should be around about 2 grams per day. All right. Tuka, however, we only need about 250 milligrams of this per day. All right. So I'm going to be giving y'all a little protocol at the end, so we'll know how to reverse all of these different ailments, especially if you run through some type of heart disease or heart failure situation. Okay. So we learned basically what do statins do. We learned what they do. A little bit about magnesium, being that it's one of the calcium channel blockers. I found out a lot about magnesium because this can be used as a calcium channel blocker, but when you're working out, we lose a lot more magnesium. Okay, so if you're exercising daily, and which is another way to help your cardiovascular system, but most people that are like bodybuilders will take off almost about 600 milligrams of magnesium. The daily recommended dosage would be 300, but I really think that we should be taking somewhere close to 500 every single day. So if you can, I recommend 2 of these magnesium glycinate pretty much daily. All right. That will definitely stop a lot of the angina situations. All right. So we got people that deal with thrombosis. They deal with blood clotting situations. And I know that there are clotting situations out there with COVID, being that it may not even be a blood clot. It could be other materials. We talked about nanotechnology being in that situation, but blood clotting, you can use garlic. You can use garlic to stop your vessels from having to develop a stent inside those arteries. You don't really want to get to that level where you always have to have a blood thinner for the rest of your life. All right. So we know that heparin is like a rat poison, but you can really thin out your blood by using garlic or just using beetroot powder. Okay. So those are other ways that you can do, or something called serrapeptase or nattokinase. All of those fermented soy can also thin out the blood and get rid of blood clots. Nattokinase or serrapeptase can stop the scarring that develops. So if there was a scarring or hardening of the heart, maybe the left ventricle became hardened, you can always use serrapeptase to take some of the fibrin, extra fibrin out of the blood. So I used to have some, I don't know if I have serrapeptase right now, but nattokinase is in. You can either use one or the other. All right, so that stops blood clots and that eats away of the fiber. If you are dealing with plaque, as far as like atherosclerotic plaque. You want to use tocophenols. Tocophenols. This is a vitamin E form. It's a liquid-based form. Or you can simply use a wheat germ. The wheat germ has spermidine inside of it. It also has the germ is what really keeps our vessels elastic, stops it from becoming so stiff. But the vitamin E also helps as far as getting rid of that plaque. Okay, so wheat germ, I got a whole video on that in the group. You can go back and check on that. I also have a whole video on Tuca. So these supplements are already there for like blood pressure situations. We have many blood pressure classes already, but all of these different supplements that we have up here has pretty much been talked about. All right, especially if you were in part of my blood pressure classes. I also think that omega-3 is very important. Omega-3, whether you're getting from flax seeds or just taking an omega-3 supplement, if you are, DHA or DHEA needs to be about 3 grams per day. Don't forget, if you're taking omega-3, it can oxidize very fast. These are fish oils, so you do need to put them in the refrigerator as soon as you open up that bottle. A lot of people forget to do that, so I'm just giving you guys the heads up to do that. Right. Something about insoluble fibers. You guys need to know that insoluble fibers have a way to bind to cholesterol. Any foods that you're eating, you can help cholesterol come out of the body just by taking in things like psyllium husk. This is kind of like my go-to when it comes to somebody having high cholesterol. Always add psyllium husk because it can bind to it. You can take the cholesterol out through the stool. So other insoluble fibers, of course, you can use things like lentils and beans, Brussels sprouts. These are foods that should be helping you with like monosaturated fats, helping you with your HDL. HDL is kind of looked at as a good cholesterol. It's actually a larger form of cholesterol. And when you eat things like monosaturated fats that are high in fat, now I'm talking about cashews, I'm talking about pecans, almonds, macadamias, stuff like that, olives. Having good olive oil is a monosaturated fat. Eating things like avocado, or just eating the olives by themselves, black olives. The black olives is going to give you something called ferrous gluconate, a fat form of iron that you can take to help your hemoglobin. All right, so the herbs, of course, there's many herbs, guys. There's many herbs that we can use to help our heart. Of course, we already know about garlic. I found out I may be bringing back the cholesterol buster. I'm going to be adding something called arginine bark. I want you guys to look up arginine. All right, I'm going to type it in the thing so you'll see. All right. Arginine bark is very important. It protects the heart. It nourishes the heart. It gets rid of old congested lymphatic fluid. I think you should take about 500 milligrams of it per day. I will probably be adding it back to the cholesterol buster. Hasn't been on the website for a very long time, but it does improve your arterial function. If there was ever any chest discomfort, you could reduce that about 60% by using the arginine bark. Okay, so arginine bark is more of an Ayurvedic type of herb. You guys know I like Ayurvedic herbs, but you can get this one from Sri Lanka. I got some on the way, so of course that takes about about a month to get here. But I'm looking to help those out who have anginas, who needs to reduce their lipids from becoming oxidized. So we're talking about LDL, becoming much lower by taking the arginine bark. So those are just one great herb that I know for a fact that will help. A lot of people like to use the pure blood therapy because it has multiple different things that it can do. In this formula, this is on the website for like 2 bottles for $50. And it has the ginkgo biloba that helps speed up the circulation. The cat's claw helps lower blood pressure and helps your immune system. Cayenne pepper is what you hear me on YouTube talking about a lot because it wakes up the kidneys. It can stop a heart attack from happening within a minute. So if you were ever laying down and you felt the tightness of your chest and you were thinking that you was about to have a heart attack, you got some cayenne pepper next to you. You can use that to help speed up circulation to prevent that heart attack from happening. There's also hawthorn berry in here. We know about hawthorn berry because that prevents people from having heart failure. It lowers cholesterol as well. So this is like a powerful formula. This is the hawthorn berry by itself. Okay, so you guys will know that I sell it by itself. It does help treat high blood pressure. A lot of people drink that as a tea with the hibiscus. I put also in here red clover. Red clover helps build up your red blood cells. Mangista is another lymphatic herb that's red in color. Anything that is red in color should y'all know that it really helps the lymphatic move. Red in color means it's going to help the heart. So the hawthorn berry is red. You can take some lychee berry or wolfberry. It's also red. The mangista, the arginine is basically red. So you know that it's going to clean out the lymphatics as well. There's also garlic inside of here. So this is one powerful formula that's going to help on multiple different levels. That's why I call it the pure blood therapy. I think this should be included in most people's journey. All right, so when they get that. All right. So I went over a bunch of different supplements, guys. I think I went over almost everything. There's potassium here if you ever need the potassium. So people that are dealing with maybe low hematocrit or what they call low hemoglobin, you can use the blood builder. It has beetroot powder in there, stinging nettle, red clover. These build up your red blood cells as well. So I call it the blood builder. So there's many different things that we can do as far as healing. So I want to get down to healing our heart. There are some people. I don't want to forget that I have K2 over here. K2 is going to stop those who do have bleeding issues, okay, who are having clotting issues and don't really clot very well. You want to take the vitamin D and the K2 together. All right, so that's necessary when it comes to dealing with plaque or dealing with thrombosis. Don't forget your vitamin C as well. Okay. Somebody asks, how much cayenne do we take to reduce a heart attack? Most people, when we do this, we take about a teaspoon. We could take that at night. There's an artery cleanse that I give to my clients, and we just use onion juice. We may use lemon. We may use garlic, and we also may use cayenne pepper in there. So you take about a shot of that maybe 3 times out of the week, and that's what we call our artery cleanse. All right. I may post that so everybody can see how that's done, but basically a shot of that will help you clean out your arteries, along with all the other methods like nattokinase, serrapeptase. Those things are really good. So we do have to avoid sugars, guys. We have to avoid the refined sugars, all the high carbs. A high carb diet and a high fat diet, it tends to create high HDL. Uh, and a low fat and a high carb diet tends to create a small dense LDL. So keep that in mind, that your low density lipoproteins are much more dangerous than HDL. So that means having a low fat diet and a high carb diet is very dangerous. And so you can have things like lycopene that's going to really help um, your LDL, or you can have things like astaxanthin. These are things that are coming from seafood. So astaxanthin is like an antioxidant that breaks down cholesterol too. So if you're eating things like salmon or a high omega-3 type fish, that will help out a lot when it comes to getting that astaxanthin. All right. I even found out in my studies about king crab. King crab has high omega-3. Even though I don't really ascribe to it as far as eating it myself, those that do, you still will find benefits from it. So I do have to mention it. Okay, so trans fats we got to stay away from. We notice that the oils of if you go to a restaurant, they're going to basically give you all the cheap oils. They're going to give you all of the safflower, the rapeseed, the canola oil, the vegetable oils. Those are very toxic. Those are going to create inflammation. That's going to create plaque and fatty streaks in your blood. So please remove those from your diet. Take them out of your house. Don't tell your kids to use it as well. So definitely don't use it. Everybody should be using something like an olive oil. And I would say you can also use avocado oil, but I believe that may oxidize a little bit faster than olive oil itself. So authentic olive oil is all we really need. But the trans fats, we got to keep in mind that when you do go to these restaurants and you see something called partially hydrogenated oil, that's a trans fat. Okay? If you see that on any of your labels of processed foods, that is something that's going to damage your arteries. It's going to cause you to have some type of heart malfunction or artery malfunction. So I won't use any seed oils at all. Okay, I will always just stick with the olive oil. It's probably the best thing that's going to be good for your heart. So no seed oils. That's including the grapeseed oil. So leave that one alone as well. No margarine. If you're taking in some type of microwavable popcorn, I know people that love their popcorn. That is also a trans fat. Okay, so you're damaging your arteries. If you notice that you get high blood pressure after eating popcorn, yeah, that's definitely damaging arteries. Right. So here we go, people. I want to give y'all my 90-day reversal plan to beat heart failure. We need to be having in structured water. Structured water will come from your watermelon juice. It will come from your cucumber juice, celery juice. All of that is structured water. Hydration is very important because your kidneys work hand in hand with your heart. And so does your liver work hand in hand with your kidneys. So therefore, we got to make sure that things are having the right enzymes and everything is in proper space. So I would like for, if you are going through a heart attack or if you've had a heart attack before and you're trying to reverse heart disease, you're trying to get the diabetes and your blood sugar in order, I'm going to recommend that you do 15 days of a green smoothie diet. And that will be all. Maybe a green juice, a green smoothie, and we're alternating throughout the days. But for 15 days straight, that will help you with obesity. That will help you with your blood sugar. It will basically help you out with your heart. And what I would put in there would be maybe coconut water, cucumber water, like I said, celery water. Add in there spinach. I got some spirulina that you can add for the dense nutrition. It'll have all of your vitamins inside of the spirulina. I also like to add in wheatgrass. That way we don't have to worry about having so many other things like I would say you can use dandelion greens, you can use watercress. I don't really ascribe to kale as much, but if you like spinach and Swiss chard or something like that, you can add that into that smoothie. But on the other side, you may want to add or just take a probiotic with it. And the reason why I'm taking a probiotic with it because your microbiome helps create short chain fatty acids. Those short chain fatty acids are really good at making butyric acid, making propionic acid. These are really good for the colon. And with that being said, it's going to help out the heart when your microbiome is strong, and it helps with getting rid of the cholesterol that way. So make sure that you have some type of probiotic when you're taking this smoothie for the 15 days. So after those 15 days, guys, all right, after those 15 days, then you can start adding in some type of raw salads. And I'm going to add in, in those salads would be chickpeas or some type of beans, because you're going to need that insoluble fiber to take some of the cholesterol out. But adding that raw food in also helps the microbiome, and then that takes the cholesterol out as well. So we got 15 days of the green smoothie and green juice, also 15 more days of the salads. And then by the time we get to the second month, we can start adding in soups, stews, vegetable soups, things like that. So we can have the rest of those 30 days still continuing on with our green smoothies, green juice, and then vegetable soups and stews. By the time we get to our third month, we can start having some cooked foods. And we're going to still stick with vegetables and fruits for that third month. All right. So this is the way that I plan to reverse heart disease. If anybody is going through those situations, if your husband or your wife or anybody that's going through that, this is the way that you want to start them off as far as reversing heart failure. Right. So my challenge for you guys, I know I spend a lot of time, but my challenge for you guys is to help you guys open up your heart chakra and get you guys to get a gratitude journal. There's a gratitude channel inside of the Shalom Health Library if you go through the guide section. But I would love for you guys to get a folder where you can write down all the little random acts of kindness that may happen throughout your day or throughout your week, so that you can start to return those acts of kindness, whether you give to the homeless or you do some charitable event or something of that matter, so that you can start to open up your heart chakra. I think that'll be a good way that you can meditate on and have your pericardium as your wall to start to release the thoughts or the emotional attachment to saying that it must be closed. So I don't know what you may think of it as, or if it could be a brick wall or something that matter, or whatever the material that is made out of for you. Put your hand on it and say that it is okay for you to release these emotions, and you're able to receive love again. So I really think that if you do this method, you can help your heart. You can treat yourself better, because it's the relationship with yourself if you want to receive more love and be able to give love. So in this month of February, the heart month, I want you guys to try to work on your gratitude, work on your heart space. And that's what I feel like will be a very good thing for us to heal our heart. All right. So I'm going to write down the methods, the smoothie, the green smoothie. It should be some already in a group. I see a lot of questions here. If you take too much coconut oil, If you take too much coconut oil, it can cause your HDL to rise up too fast. All right, so be careful with the coconut oil. This is the reason why I keep saying olive oil is all that you need. All right. I know that the monolaurin inside of coconut oil or the lauric acid is very healthy for certain people with viruses. That's a good thing, but don't do too much of it because you can raise your cholesterol. Just trying to get through some of the questions that are here. But basically, guys, if y'all got plenty of questions, I'm going to make sure that I'll be in a group today answering some of those and giving some other references as well. Right. Yes, ghee. I like ghee. Even though that is a clarified butter, ghee, Ghee, can heal IBS. It can provide a lot of nutrition for our microbiome. All right. It's another way for us to get butyric acid and help cholesterol come out of the body. So it is a saturated fat, but it is something that you can cook with. Even though I said olive oil, but you can use ghee as well. I have in my hand right now a green quartz, helps out with the heart chakra, and also a rose quartz. Keep these around. Keep these around in this month for self-love, or if you just want to create more love channels inside of your heart space. So that's pretty much it, guys. I wanted to just have this all information. I don't want to make it too long, but I really appreciate you guys being here. I'll be inside the group giving some more information as well. Oh, and by the way, a lot of these things are on sale just for you in the group. You can go onto the shalomhealthservices.com and still be able to use the code just for members. So that's my way of saying thank you and also having gratitude towards my people. It's been a beautiful year already. All right. Much love to everyone, and I will see you guys next month. We have our kidney month, and I think right now doing this for the heart will also help our kidneys next month when we have our next class. I hope that you guys learned a lot here, but if you have any extra questions, I'll be sure to answer them throughout the weeks and throughout this month. We should be focusing on our heart. God blessings, everyone. Have a great Sunday.